Hi everyone, Aiden here with etrailer. Are you looking for a set of large link, heavy duty chains to get you through some thick snow or ice in your 2024 GMC Sierra 2500? Well, the Pewag all square snow tire chains with cam tensioners could be a really good fit for you. We're going to be taking a look at them and showing you how to install them on our tire size 275, 65, R20 today. Let's get started. The defining feature here is going to be these large square links. Not only will they be larger than most tire chains that you find, but that square shape is going to help really well for biting into deep ice and snow, really breaking up ice too. Not to mention they've got these grooves in there to help give just a little bit of extra traction, just basically adding surface area and rougher edges so that it's not one smooth large link. It's just going to help bite in and get you where you need to go and get you unstuck from some tough situations. Now this will also be a ladder pattern chain, which just means that the links go perpendicular across the tire in this ladder shape. When paired in conjunction with the really large link size, this will be a bumpier ride quality because we've got a lot of height differences happening here as we go onto the chain, off the chain, onto the chain again, and off. But this will give you excellent traction for starts and stops. So if you need to make an emergency stop or get going again, these will help a lot. And the material here will be a hardened manganese nickel alloy steel. That alloy will help it resist rust and corrosion really well over time and help it last for multiple seasons. And with the large link size, especially if you maybe hit a rock or something, you want them to be hardened and durable so that they don't crack or chip and start to damage over time. On the front, you'll see that we have these cam tensioners. You can use your included tool to tighten those up and draw some slack out of the chain and give you a more snug fit. But as you can see, it's not perfect. There's only 3 of them, so the room for adjustment isn't great. It's definitely better than nothing, but you likely will still need something like a rubber tensioner to draw that extra slack out and get a nice, true tight fit onto that tire. These are sold separately, but it's something that we recommend very strongly here at etrailer, just because it's going to help you just stay a bit safer and keep the chains on the tire nice and tight when you're going down the road. The chains come in a kit of 2, so 1 for each side of the vehicle, and they give you this large sort of plastic canvas bag to carry them in. These bags aren't great. These still aren't the worst, but with chains as large as these, you'll notice that these start to rip and tear over time, and they really just don't last for super long. The chains will certainly outlive them. So you might consider picking up something like a plastic tote to keep your chains in, something a bit more durable, especially if you plan on keeping them in the car so they're ready to go for you if you happen to get stuck on the side of the road and need to put them on. But like I said in the beginning, with a chain this aggressive and individual links that are as big as these, a set of chains like this is really meant for some of the most extreme conditions, and certainly not for everyone. So if you need something a bit less aggressive, I'd strongly recommend looking at our fit guide, finding the right kit for you, but just looking for a smaller link size. Koenig makes a really great set of chains that's still a square link, good for some icy conditions, but a much smaller link size and better for just typical on-road conditions. But if you are in those extreme environments and you need something to match that, then I do think these Pewag chains are a great way to go, and I personally do like the ones that have the cams included. One thing to know about the install though is that it is going to require you to get underneath the truck and behind the tire. Not something that everyone wants to do, but again, for a chain this aggressive, it's just something you're going to have to do. But overall, it's not a bad install process. It's actually really straightforward. Follow along and we'll show you how we got them put on our tire today. The first thing you want to do is lay the chains out and make sure that nothing's tangled up. Especially with this ladder pattern style, things tend to get tangled up, but lay it out flat and make sure they're in the proper orientation too. You can tell by looking at the outer face where your cams will be. And you can look at these end links where there's a more hooked side that's facing up right now, and this more smooth side facing down. That's what will end up touching the tire. And you also want to make sure that these cams aren't already tightened. They'll be facing inward like this and a bit closer together on those links, if they are, we want those to be opened up. When you're happy with the orientation, you can grab them by the middle and carefully drape them over the tire, being careful to not hit the wheel here. But we're just going to lay it over top like this and try to get it as centered as possible, front to back, as well as side to side. And then we'll go back behind the tire to make our first connection at the bottom. Now, luckily, your Sierra has a good amount of room to work under here. We will take the hooked end and these free links and join them together, but you don't necessarily have to go to that end link. I'm going to try for the second one here. There will be one that's an ideal fit that doesn't pull the chain too far back or too far forward, and it's really just going to depend on your tire. That's why I recommend doing this in your garage or your driveway before actually getting out in the elements, so that we know what link to go to for future reference. But now we'll go back to the front and do the same thing. The connection at the front is going to be the same hook and link that we had at the back. I'm also going to go for the second link, but upon doing that, I'm realizing that it's a bit loose. So at this point, I'd find what feels good. Probably that fourth link there. But that does mean I'll probably want to go back to the back of the tire, tighten that one up a bit too, so I'm not pulling so much slack out of the front and that it's uneven. When you're happy with the adjustments you've made though, you can take the included cam tool and start to tighten down those cams. You may not need all of these, but we'll just go around the tire chain until we feel like we've achieved a good level of tightness. Already that one I'm feeling a bit more tension, but there's still some looseness there, so I'll go for the third. And even with all those tightened down, we've still got a fair bit of slack. But in that case, we already recommend using a rubber tensioner. That's just going to help us get that final bit of slack out. And while this isn't included in your kit, like I said, we do recommend adding it. You just want to apply it in a star-shaped pattern and try to evenly distribute it throughout the chain here. And what that's doing is just pulling out that extra bit of looseness that was there and helping us get a proper fit on the tire. That there is feeling much better, and these cams are also a lot tighter, so less likely to open up on us while we're driving. It's a good idea to just go to the other tire and repeat that whole process, and when you have them both installed, drive over them a few times. As we start to drive and the chains move on the tire a bit, they'll start to settle, and in a lot of cases you'll be able to get them a little bit tighter, whether that's turning in an additional cam or maybe just readjusting the links that we hooked in on the bottom. Whatever that may be, make those adjustments and then you'll be ready to hit the road. And that'll do it for our look at these Pewag all-square snow tire chains on our 2024 GMC Sierra 2500. Thanks for watching.